Haha! Alright. Oh, my hair is really messy today. Sorry about that, everyone. Hello, everyone. Darkside Phil here. Today is Sunday, May 24th, 2015, and welcome very much to the Week in Preview. Wow. Let me tell you guys something. This week in particular, this end of May, this final week where we're rounding out May, with a bang, quite honestly, is going to be so jam-packed full of variety of content, that I don't think there's anyone possibly on the planet who could say, wow, I disliked all the games that Phil played this week, because there's that much variety. You've got continuation of episodic games, you've got final DLCs, you've got the continuation of long RPGs, long JRPGs, we've got fighting game content coming up, we've got an Indies mini marathon, Ask the King, a ridiculous amount of content, and then at the end of the week, a new game, a Wii U exclusive. It's like it covers the wide variety of stuff that I play on my gaming channels on YouTube, right? It really does. And so there's going to be a lot to talk about in this video, and I want to at least say this up front. Please be patient during this week in preview. There's so much to talk about. I'm going to try to hit up every single thing every day so as not to leave anything out, and I apologize if I do leave anything out because there's so much going on this week, okay? So, for the purposes of trying to stave off confusion, we're going to go systematically day by day through the week to let you know exactly what to expect every day. I'm going to try to answer questions that are kind of looming about stuff that's either going to be on hold or isn't being played as often. I know a lot of people are asking questions about this, okay? To start, first up, before we get to the schedule, let's talk and get this out of the way. Let's talk about Patreon, because, ladies and gentlemen, there is 1 week left for you to pledge to my May Patreon for the year of 2015. And I know I've been mentioning it over the past week because about a week ago, I did post up my new goals for the month of May, and there seems to be some confusion about the goals. Some people are like, I don't understand what this is or what that is. So very briefly, I'm going to go through it and explain to you what they're going to be, how they're going to affect the month of June, okay? And then we're going to go through this week's schedule. Right now, I have several goals set up for the month of June, based off of Patreon funding levels. If you want to check it out, it's patreon.com/DarksidePhil. If you pledge in the next week, depending on how much you pledge, you will qualify for a certain perk level. As little as $1 gets you your name mentioned in text during a video. For example, this one. At the end of this video, I'll show a list of patrons who donated at least $1 in the month of April, which was last month's patron, okay? For $5, you get premium forum access, and you get to vote on multiple things. I'm about to mention the things you'll get to vote on if you do pledge, all right? Those are going to come up in the goals. In addition to that, if you pledge $10 or more, you'll get a verbal shout-out. Those people got their shout-out last week in the Week in Preview, all right? If you do $20 or more, you actually will have the chance to have your question answered for Ask the King. Now, I want to say this right now. People who pledged $20 or more in the month of April, so far only 2 people have posted up their questions on the forums in the premium patron section for this week's episode of Ask the King. That's right, this week, Ask the King is coming up. So if you are a patron for the month of April, last month, and you pledged $20 or more, and you want to get your question answered on Thursday, you must post up ASAP. Get it up earlier, the earlier the better. I will be answering all those questions come Thursday, but I don't want anyone to forget about it and then not get their question answered, okay? $30, you get a Project 7 t-shirt signed. $50, you could get a private video made, which I've done several of. People have given me nothing but positive feedback about the private videos I've made for them. And for, I believe it's 60 or 70 or more, I'm not even positive at this point. It's been that long since I actually reviewed the perks. You can be a part of one of my upcoming projects, such as Project 7, the reboot coming out hopefully this summer, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. And in addition to that, anything else that I may do by the end of the year that I can involve people in. So, you get cool perks for pledging to my Patreon. I get funding to, number 1, continue what I'm doing full-time. Number 2, to do different things that normally I wouldn't do. And a lot of things, just for example, a lot of things that have happened as a result of Patreon so far. This microphone. Better audio quality. You can see the soundproofing foam behind me. In fact, tonight, after I finish this video, I'm going to try to put more up around my office. I ordered a second batch because I like this first batch so much. And we're going to try to make the office sound even more professional. Okay? Playthroughs. Games that I never would have played before, such as Minecraft and Persona 4. Okay? And in addition to that, other things that I want to do as a direct result of Patreon, including getting a better camera so that I could do really good green screen work and shots and all kinds of new stuff for new series that I want to start, but I need a better camera to do them. The cameras that I have right now, this webcam certainly is not good enough to be doing some kind of a professional quality series, which is why it's shrunken in this video. It's not even good enough to blow up full screen. And my existing cameras don't even do high definition 1080p, don't have audio, and they're really messy. They're not cameras meant to do good kind of you know, anything creative. They're more for just point and shoot for on vacation or whatever. So through Patreon, all these improvements can happen, all right? The goals that I've set for the month of May. Now, this is where there's been some confusion. Let's go through them. Number one of the goals is that I get to play Yakuza 4. And some people have said, but I don't understand, Phil. That's not patrons' choice because you didn't have the patrons vote on Yakuza 4. You just put it there and said it's going to be a playthrough that's supported by Patreon. I don't get it. I said this since Patreon started back in February. It's not always going to be Patron's Choice. Patron's Choice is going to happen every other month. In this exception of a case, because I was playing Persona 4, which was Patron's Choice for the month of March, I played it all of April, and then April patrons got to vote again because the game was so long if they wanted to see it in May, which they did, and now incidentally I'm about to finish it within the next few sessions. So that was kind of the exception where we had a few months straight where it was Patron's Choice. If you remember before Persona 4, the game that I had put up there that was not Patron's Choice was Minecraft, and we did over a month of Minecraft because that was a game viewers had always asked me to play. I had avoided, and I finally said because of Patreon, I'm able to do it. I can drop new releases, and I can play this as a focus instead of having to worry about new release, okay? So Yakuza 4 is a similar thing for years. Ever since I played Yakuza Dead Souls, way back when, I think it was, what, 2011? People have wanted to see me play Yakuza 4, a mainstream game in the Yakuza franchise. And now, basically, this is like the last chance, because if you guys don't know, Yakuza 5 is coming out within the next year. Supposedly, it's in development right now. It's supposed to come out by the end of the year in Japan and possibly even be localized then, or maybe early 2016 come out in the United States. I need to play Yakuza 4 before then, or else I will have no background. It's kind of like when I played Dragon Age Origins last year in anticipation for Dragon Age Inquisition. It's kind of the same thing. The same thing with Persona 4. I played that in anticipation of Persona 5, which also may be out later this year. So I want to play the game. And some people are admittedly upset that, oh, but I want to see Phil play this or this. Patron's Choice will come back. And understand that. It's not going anywhere. It's just it's going on hiatus for me to play Persona 4. I'm sorry. Play Yakuza 4. And once Yakuza 4 is completed, the Patron's Choice will come back. Okay, I just want to clarify because there's a lot of confusion about that right now. So that's one of the goals. If I hit that goal, I'll be able to play Yakuza 4 regardless of views, because I know it probably won't get a lot of views. It's an old game. It's not mainstream. It's very Japanese-centric, right? But I want to play it. I've had so much fun playing Minecraft and Persona 4. I want to play Yakuza 4. It seems like every time that I go out of my comfort zone to do one of these games as a result of Patreon, I have a ton of fun. So I want to do Yakuza 4. That's one of the goals. Another goal, continuing the DSP Classic series, and this month, patrons will, if you pledge $5 or more in the next week, you'll be able to vote on what game you want to see next in the DSP Classic series. It's been Heavy Rain now for 6 weeks. It looks like within the next 2 weeks, it will complete. I'll finish with Heavy Rain. I'll be able to move on to another game. I strongly urge those who do qualify to vote, please don't pick a longer game. Try to get little ones. Like, a lot of people have suggested things like Start the Party, or, you know, any of those silly motion control games, or games that maybe I did with John Rambo. Shorter playthroughs that would be much easier to get highlights and do a best of series, rather than this long narrative game that's going to have 5 million parts I need to go through, okay? I think that maybe doing a few quick ones for a month might be a better choice, but the patrons will decide what the next playthrough will be for the DSP Classics montage series, alright? That's another goal. The next goal is going to be Patron's Choice of a marathon that's of a classic games kind of from the 90s. And what I mean by that is, what I did is, people have been telling me for Patron's Choice for a new marathon, they said, indies are great, you're doing 2 indie marathons now, do something different, why don't you do classic games? And I said, I will, but I need to see what games are more viable to play. And it seems like games such as the Sonic the Hedgehog series, Crash Bandicoot, and Banjo-Kazooie would be readily available for me to play right away. And all of them are very pertinent. Sonic, I mean, Sonic games have been around forever. I've never played a classic Sonic game. Crash Bandicoot, a lot of people have actually asked me to play over the years, and I kind of ignored it. And Banjo-Kazooie is super pertinent because that new game, Yooka-Laylee, from the creators of Crash Bandicoot, is being crowdfunded right now. How cool would it be for me to play the original game, right? And then possibly play Yooka-Laylee later on when it is released in a couple years or however long it takes. So that marathon, whatever it's going to be, is going to be controlled by the patrons. You'll be able to vote on one of those 3 options. And some people have said, but Phil, why don't you just have the patrons vote on everything? It's too much. The bottom line is, even just looking at just indie games, we get people nominating 100 different games, and it's very hard for me to, say, okay, what one has the most interest? I have to count the votes on what's the most interest, and then I put them into a poll, and even then people complain. Phil, why not this one? Why not this one? I'm like, because the patrons didn't nominate them. So, if I just left it open, any game ever for a marathon, you know how many suggestions there would be? What I'm doing is trying to go through. First, we did indies twice. Now we're going to do classic games. Maybe then we'll go to a different genre, or maybe one of the games that didn't get voted in will be the next one. We'll see. Okay, but I had to see what was viable, what was readily, easily available for me to play in a marathon-style setting that would be easy to set up, and that, I'd be able to live up to that promise of doing it as a marathon, okay? So those are the standard goals for the month of May. Hopefully we hit them all. If we do, that's great. We'll have an awesome June. The stretch goal remains the same as last month, where what I want to do is raise enough money, roughly around $750. It would be great if I could raise more, but if I could raise around $750, I could buy a better camera, like I mentioned, to do green screen stuff, better vlogs, better series, okay? I want to do that by the summer. If I could get that by the summer, let's say latest July, August, I could start working on Project 7, which is the series I want to really work on and do good green screen quality stuff for, but I need better equipment to do it. And so, a lot of people have said, well, Phil, your goal for that is $2,000, okay? Which is, I know, no, I'm not going to spend $2,000 on the camera. It's going to be, the highest goal that I have on there is $1,250, so it's $2,000 minus $1,250, there's your $750. That's what I'm going to spend on the camera, okay? Some people have said, well, last month, you exceeded your goal of $1,250. You were over $1,300, so what about that excess money? Did that go towards the camera? The answer is no. You want to know why? Because that money doesn't exist. Last month, even though I got pledges all the way above $1,300, when it actually got charged by Patreon, a bunch of people got declined. This happens every month, and it's usually $1 here, $5 here, $10 here. It's usually never a huge pledge. It's always the smaller pledges. And it ended up, guess how much money I made? Out of the over $1,300 that were pledged, I made $1,255. So I made $5 over what the highest goal was. So yeah, if you want to say, okay, $5 towards the camera, sure. But I didn't make any excess last month where I was like, oh, that could go towards this new camera that I'm trying to raise funds for, okay? This month, I have no idea how much I'm going to raise because we're a week away. Right now, Patreon says it's over $1,400, but what happens is that last minute, people who pledge big last month say, oh shit, I got to change my pledge. They change it, and then it shrinks. This happens every month. A couple days before, it goes boo, and then at the last minute, more people pledge, and it goes boo, and we usually hit around that goal of $1,250, which is the target goal that I have every month. So, if I do, after everything is said and done, get a large amount pledge and it charges and it goes through, yes, what I will do next month is instead of saying, oh, a $2,000 stretch goal, I will reduce that by the amount that it's in excess. Last month there was no excess, $5. So if there is real excess next month, yes, I will reduce that amount so you guys know how on track we are to raising that and getting enough money for that better camera, okay? So that's what's going on with Patreon. 1 month left. Patreon.com/DarksidePhil. Please consider pledging. If we hit all those goals, we'll have all those crazy fun stuff that I just mentioned for the month of June. Of course, in addition, in June, we're going to have all kinds of stuff like Splatoon, and there's going to be DLC characters in MKX. We're going to be playing Batman Arkham Knight, which is going to be amazing, I'm sure. I love Rocksteady. We got all this fun stuff going on in June. E3 coverage I'll be doing like always, but Patreon will make it better. So consider pledging if you haven't yet, okay? Now, I'm going to talk about the schedule for this week, which is directly influenced by Patreon. So you're going to see what the big impact is. Today, I did a stream of Mortal Kombat 10 versus viewers. It was the final kind of stream that I'm doing like that, because quite honestly, I'll be honest with you guys, I think both with myself and with my viewership, the interest in Mortal Kombat 10 has waned significantly. It really has reduced in the past couple of weeks. The game's over a month old now. Besides Jason being the DLC character, there hasn't been much else. There was a patch, a week ago that kind of, juggled a few things around, but the online play's still laggy. The game's not amazingly, wow, I gotta keep playing it like crazy. And let's face it, I'm not a Mortal Kombat addicted person. I love Street Fighter. Street Fighter was, I'd probably be playing the shit out of it still, but I'm not going to be playing, Mortal Kombat 10 consistently in the future until DLC characters come out. I want to make that clear. When the DLC characters are released, yes, I'll be going in the lab with them, doing their challenge towers, and playing online with them. But for now, for the foreseeable future, until DLC characters are released, I'm not going to be playing Mortal Kombat 10 until that happens. So this was kind of the final last hurrah session that I had with viewers. It went down pretty well. I had like over 40 matches. I uploaded 20 today. And later this week, I'll be uploading more, and I'll tell you in this schedule when there's going to be more uploading, okay? So if you like MKX, there was some good footage today, and there'll be 2 more batches coming later this week. And then when DLC characters come out, MKX will return, okay? Tonight, obviously, I'm doing the weekend preview. Tomorrow, huge event, Patreon event. As a direct result of a successful Patreon in the month of April, the Indies Mini Marathon returns for the first time in 2 months. And we're coming back with games that the patrons voted on. It looks like we're going to have a unique mix of games that were continuations from last time and some new ones. It looks like there's this game, Hey Tofu Boyfriend, that I'm going to be playing. It also looks like there's this game, Papers, Please. And I think Terraria is tied with the continuation of other games such as To the Moon from last time, Hotline Miami last time, and I believe The Binding of Isaac. So we're going to have to see tomorrow, once I actually finally start this marathon stream, which is going to happen around between noon to 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's around, just to get you aware, around 3 to 3:30 p.m. There's a fuzz in my mouth. Ugh. Around 3 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to start up the stream. And I'm going to start with one of those games, and we're going to go through based on how the votes are and play through. I'm hoping to play at least 4 games, and at the most maybe 6, but we'll see. We'll see how much I get into each game. Last stream, just so you guys know, lasted around 7.5 hours. I finished around 7:38 p.m. I'm thinking about going that long again this time. So it should be a fun event, and that's directly based off of Patreon, okay? Tuesday. What a day we've got Tuesday. We've got the release of Game of Thrones Episode 4, the final DLC for The Evil Within, and of course I want to continue on with my other series. So how am I going to handle it? It's this simple. I don't know when these games will be released. I don't know if I wake up on Tuesday if Game of Thrones will be available or if it won't be. So the way I'm handling it is this. If I wake up on Tuesday and Game of Thrones Episode 4 is available, I want to do that first. Because I don't want to put it late. Whenever I put it late, I end up rushing through it or wondering, gee, am I going to finish it in time? I'd like to give it a little bit more time than usual because those episodes roughly are around 1.5 to 2 hours long. So it will be maybe a shorter first stream, but I want to do it on first stream. If it's not available first stream on Tuesday, then I'm going to be doing Witcher 3, continuing, okay? If it is available, then Witcher 3 will be second stream. So think of it this way. Either Game of Thrones, if it's available, first thing Tuesday. If it's not, Witcher 3, and then Game of Thrones will be later. So that's Tuesday, a combination of Game of Thrones and Witcher 3. Wednesday, I want to do the DLC for The Evil Within. This is the unique DLC that's not like the other 2 that we played. This one is still story-based. Supposedly it has some story built into it, but it's not as story-heavy as the other 2 that we've done. This one is a first-person romp through the game where you play as the Box Man. That's right, that big monstrous dude who used these different weapons during the game and was chasing down, the protagonists of the game, and he wears that safe on his head. You play as him, and you have to fight the enemies from the game. I don't understand how that works. Why is he fighting them? I have no idea. In an arena-style setting, it apparently unlocks the parts of the story from the game. It's supposed to be the final part of the DLC. I'll be honest, I was disappointed at the last DLC. Hopefully this one's pretty good, but who knows. I want to do it because I bought the Season Pass. So that's going to be first stream on Wednesday. Second stream on Wednesday will be, again, Witcher 3. So we're going to balance it out. See, Witcher 3 continuing, but we're balancing it out with other stuff. Thursday is the return of Ask the King. For the first time in a month, I do this once a month, but it's going to be on time, meaning it's not going to be late like it was last month. If you remember, last month I was having my roof done, so during the day there was all this noise and shit. Not this month. This month, the roofers, that was completed a month ago. It'll be the normal time, which is going to be early afternoon. For me, let me think about this. What time do I usually start it? I usually start it at latest around 2 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to try to start a little earlier, so maybe 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And I will be accepting questions all week. You got to post up your questions on the forums on thekingofhate.com. Please post them up. There's a thread there already. We've only got about 50 questions. I'd like to get around 100 for each episode of Ask the King. I'll put the I'll put the link in the description of this video. Please click the link, post up your questions. Okay? I'll be picking out of those to answer. In addition, I already mentioned this earlier in the video. If you were a patron who pledged in the month of April $20 or more, you must post up your questions in the auspicious patrons lounge, which only you have access to, on the kingofhate.com forums, so I can answer your questions on Thursday, okay? So that's going to be first stream on Thursday. It's always a good show. I love doing Ask the King. Second stream on Thursday will be Persona 4. So Persona 4 continues. And at this point, just so everyone knows, excuse me, Persona 4 looks like within another maybe 2-3 streams tops, I will complete the game, and that means I'll beat the game and do the secret ending, the secret true ending. At this point, everyone's spoiled the shit out of everything. I don't know what the true ending is, but everyone's told me how to get it. So, yes, I'm looking to do it. Obviously, I've spent so much time on this game. Let me get the real ending of the game, the true ending of the game. I will be going for that, okay? So, within the next week to 2 weeks, I'll be fitting in Persona 4 streams and completing the game, which means we can move on to the next game, which hopefully, if the goal is met, will be Yakuza 4, okay? So, that's Thursday. Friday, ladies and gentlemen, Splatoon. Now, I have no idea what to expect with this game. I saw E3 footage, and I've heard people saying good things about it, playing it as, like, the demo that they were having. Sometimes the demo was running, and it was terrible from what I'm to understand. It didn't work properly. But I'm excited. It's a Wii U exclusive game. Seems like it's team-based action. I'll be playing that on Friday to start on my first stream. No second stream Friday because I'll be releasing the Best and Worst of Heavy Rain Part 7, which will be hopefully the next to last. I think the series will last about 8 parts, and then it'll be over, okay? Now, I just mentioned 2 gameplay streams for Thursday and Friday, right? I said on Thursday there'll be Ask the King. That's not a gameplay stream, but I will be doing Persona 4. On Friday, I said I'll be playing Splatoon, but then I said no second stream. So what I'm going to do, since I'm only playing 1 game each those days, I'm going to take the rest of the Mortal Kombat footage from today, Sunday, and I'm going to upload it in batches of, say, 10 or so matches each day. So you'll have a combination of Mortal Kombat and Persona 4, Splatoon and Mortal Kombat. So there you go. So every day you're going to have multiple games uploading to DSP Gaming, plus you're going to have a wide variety of stuff. No matter what kind of game you're looking for, you're going to get your flavor for it this week, okay? This coming Saturday, I am going to be continuing The Witcher 3. I've decided it makes sense for me to continue with The Witcher 3. I want to play more of it. I like the game. It's going to be an ongoing playthrough probably all through June at this point, since it really looks like it's not getting much viewership, which is a shame. It seems like whenever I play longer RPGs, people don't care that much anymore, which is a shame because, again, similar to Dragon Age Inquisition, the more I'm playing this game, the more it's growing on me, and I'm starting to like it more and more. So I'm kind of thinking, man, this might end up being a Game of the Year contender for me. But I hate that for some reason my viewership doesn't like watching these longer RPGs. I love playing them. I love experiencing them. If you are watching, thank you. I just wish that if you're not watching, you'd give it a shot. Because after, say, the first couple hours of gameplay, once I get past the boring, repetitive side content in the first few sections, once you get to the next second map, the game really opens up and gets awesome. Like, the past 2 to 3 streams I've played have been amazing. But I don't know if anyone got that far. You know what I mean? They probably watched the first couple streams. It's a slow start. Never watch it again. So give it a chance if you haven't. Okay? That's going to be Saturday. On Saturday, there will be a new DSP Tries It episode coming out as well. This Sunday, what I play on Sunday will be determined by you. And what I mean by that is probably come Friday, once people watch me play Splatoon, I'll have people vote maybe Saturday and say, do you want to see me play Splatoon on Sunday, or do you want to see me play more Persona 4 and get to the end game of the game and maybe even finish it? I doubt I'll finish it then. I'll probably need one more stream after that to finish it. So it'll be your choice. What I do Sunday, whatever I don't play Sunday, yeah, will be played Monday, okay? And that's perfect because Monday, I'll only do the 1 gameplay stream because I'm going to want to spend the second half of that day working on the montage of the best and worst of May because that's right, that Monday is June. So I'll want to work on the best and worst of May that day. I will give you more of an information on what to expect in early June, that first week or two. I'll tell you right now, it will be definitely be a combination of The Witcher 3, the end of Persona 4, the beginning and start of Yakuza 4 if it gets funded. We'll also be doing any DLCs that come out for MKX, any DLC characters we'll be exploring there. Obviously, any episodic content, right, that comes out during that period of time. I'll probably come back with Hate Live, my podcast, probably in early June. And keep in mind, E3 is around that time. So that's a huge time for me where I'm just going to be watching the press conferences and covering E3 for a week like I always do. So that's going to be coming up when E3, I believe that's the second week of June this year. I'm not positive on that, but I need to double check. Whenever that is, I'm doing that. So early June is going to be heavy with content. It's just not going to be anything new or groundbreaking. It's going to be continuing on with a lot of stuff. Splatoon in there too. I'm sure people like Splatoon. I'll be playing that on and off. And yes, a possibility of me playing with viewers and fans and stuff depending on how it works, okay? So that's kind of the deal. Pretty jammed week. Real quick summary, and then one quick request at the end of the video here. Today, I played MKX and the week in preview. Tomorrow, the Indies Mini Marathon. It's going to be awesome. Hope you'll join me for that. Tuesday, Game of Thrones Episode 4 and Witcher 3. Just not sure of the order yet. Depends on when Game of Thrones is released. Wednesday, the Evil Within final DLC starring the Boxman and more Witcher 3. Thursday, Ask the King paired with Persona 4, and the rest of the MKX videos will be uploading half that day. Friday, Splatoon's premiere paired with the best and worst of Heavy Rain montage, and yes, the rest of the MKX videos will finally release on Friday. Saturday, more Witcher 3 and the DSP tries it. You'll be voting on what you want to see Sunday, either Splatoon or, Splatoon or more Persona 4. Whatever I don't play on Sunday will be played on Monday, and I'll be working on the best and worst of May on Monday. So what a freaking week we have ahead of us. Whew, I told you it was a lot to talk about. I hope that you're still awake, alright? Last but certainly not least, I haven't been mentioning this a lot recently, and it's my fault. Fan art. You guys know that fan art, I love fan art. I take fan art, whatever people submit, and I make cool montages out of it. I use it as pre-stream. I use it during commercial breaks. Sometimes I use it for other things. And fan art's been great, especially for games like Witcher 3 and stuff like that. But now we've got these other things. We got the Indies Mini Marathon. I think I got like 2 to 3 pictures that were submitted for that. If a few people submit overnight on the forums in the fan art section, I'll throw those into a montage tomorrow for that marathon. Okay? Yeah, Game of Thrones. The final Evil Within DLC, you know. Witcher 3, I made one already, but if I get enough submissions, say I get like 4 or 5 more submissions, I'll update that with even more Witcher fan art. Later this week, Splatoon. That's a big one. I hope that you guys will submit fan art for that. And whatever's submitted, I'll be putting into these montages, and I'll use. And I don't mention fan art a lot. I should, and I apologize, first of all, that I don't mention it. I thank those who do submit it. I use, as you guys see, I use it. It's really useful. And I'm very much appreciative for those that do. It's just that I don't mention it a lot anymore because I get so caught up with everything else that I forget to. So thank you to those who submit it. If you would like to, please submit. I'll put the link in the description of this video again. You can submit it on the kingofhate.com forums, and I will use it in my intros and stuff for my playthroughs, okay? I think that's it. I may be wrong. I may have forgotten some things, but there's so much going on this week. I'm hoping that I hit upon everything, all right? Last but certainly not least, ladies and gents, let's end this with the list, yes, yet again, of the April 2015 patrons, excuse me. All these people pledged to my Patreon account in the month of April 2015. I'm incredibly grateful that they did. They allowed this month to be as awesome as it is. That we're doing this indie marathon tomorrow, direct result of all these people. So thanks very much to them. I am looking into a possible way to do this better, so I'm not just doing a stupid spreadsheet like this, at least showing it a little bit more ordered. The problem is that it's all based off of Patreon, and Patreon doesn't even let you export a list of names. Like, it's all copy-pasting all this poorly formatted stuff. I'll see what I could do next month for the month of June. I know that this was annoying for people this month to have to see it this way. I apologize I couldn't do the scroll like I used to. There's so many people now pledging it doesn't fit in OBS anymore, which is my software here to do videos. So, alright, that is it, ladies and gentlemen, for the weekend preview. That was not what I wanted to click. There we go. That's it for the weekend preview. Thanks very much. No matter what you're looking for, you're going to get some of it this week. I hope to see many of you on stream this week. Thumbs up to everyone who's stuck in there. I know it's difficult when there's so much stuff going on, especially if there's a certain game that you want to see. Oh, I'm dying for the conclusion of Persona 4. Man, I really like Witcher 3. When is there more? It's coming. Alright, we just need to get through all this stuff, and we will eventually get to everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your continued viewership, for your continued support. And I'll see you for new gameplay all this week. And at the end of this week, we'll start talking about June and E3 coverage and all that, okay? Thanks, everyone. See you next time. Peace out. Oops. I clicked the wrong thing. Okay. Peace.